Sheikh, the chair of the All-Party Parliamentary Group for Sudan, Excellencies, High Commissioners and Ambassadors, and thank you for joining us today at this special event in which we celebrate one of the oldest and most unique Sudanese and African cultures and civilizations. Ms. Badawi needs no introduction from my part. However, please allow me to say a few words about our distinguished guest and the producer and creative mind behind the documentary we are going to see just in a few minutes. Embodying her British Sudanese identities and backgrounds, Zainab's career and life has been one of the most internationally distinguished and recognized. In 2009, she was recognized as the International TV Personality of the Year in the annual Media Awards, the International Media Excellence Awards organized by the Association of International Broadcasting. Zainab received 2 honorary doctorates from 2 renowned universities. The first is a doctorate of letters from the School of Oriental and African Studies, SOAS, University of London, in 2011, in recognition of her achievements in journalism. And the second is an honorary doctorate for journalism from the London College of Communications, University of the Arts, London, in 2015. Zainab was named in Power List 2012 and 2015 as one of Britain's top 100 most influential members of the Black community. In 2016, Zainab received the Mechi Diak Foundation Lifetime Achievement Award. She is the current chair of the Royal African Society, a Queen's appointment to the board of the Historic Royal Palaces, a trustee of BBC Media Action, the charitable arm of the BBC, a vice president of the United Nations Association, UK, and a board member of the African Union Foundation. She is also a member of the World Economic Forum's Global Agenda Council for Africa. Aside from her media and journalism career, Zainab is a distinguished intellectual who is actively engaged in a large number of public educational and cultural activities in the UK and internationally. Zainab is a former trustee of the National Portrait Gallery. She has been a board member of the British Council, the Centre for Contemporary British History, a former chair of the London-based Freedom of Speech Campaign Organization, Article 19, and a board member of the Overseas Development Institute, a very impressive CV. These are only a few glimpses of her long, diverse, and distinguished career and life achievements. I should not forget to mention that Zainab was born in Sudan and moved to London with her family when she was 2 years old. She descends, actually, and I have to say this, from a family which is very well known in Sudan for advocating women's rights and women's education. The documentary we will be watching this evening represents yet another example of her cultural engagement and activities. It is one of a series of documentaries about African history produced and presented by Zainab in association with UNESCO. The Kingdom of Kush documentary takes us back into history to one of the most ancient, wealthiest, and powerful Sudanese and African civilizations with a distinctive culture and that endured for centuries. Its temples, monuments, pyramids, pottery, jewelry, drawings, religious practices, and architecture have enriched our human heritage. One of the key features characterizing that old civilization was how Nubian women played a key role within the governance of the kingdom. Kushite women were queens, rulers, and political leaders. Ladies and gentlemen, to tell you more about this wonderful history of the Kingdom of Kush and of the documentary we will be screening, I give the floor to Zainab Badawi. Zainab, please.
Shukran jazilan, ya Sa'adak. Lord Sheikh, Excellencies, Ambassadors, High Commissioners, ladies and gentlemen, friends, colleagues and family members, thank you all very much indeed for devoting some of your Friday evening to watching the premiere, in fact, of this documentary. What I'm going to show you very quickly, and I'm not going to talk for very long, is first of all, a 15-minute short film which sets out the objectives of the entire series, The History of Africa. And this is the first series, and I hope there'll be more in the future. This series begins with the origins of humankind, Programme 1, and it ends around the 12th, 13th century. This episode that you will see will be Programme 4. But before I show you the actual documentary, which is about 45 minutes long, I thought you'd be interested in seeing just what lay behind this entire series. And I should say that there is a public good to this, because I think for so long Africans have seen their history as either being denigrated, written by outsiders, or they've been told they don't have any. And it's ironic, because actually Africa has the longest history in the world, because it's where humankind started. And really 3 objectives with this series, which is, if you watch it, I can't put everything in, of course, but you'll learn a lot more about Africa than you knew from the start, hopefully. Secondly, you'll be excited to know a bit more. And thirdly, you'll also be entertained, because we know that the average age of the African is between 19 to 22 years of age. And it's very much this younger generation that I'm very keen that they become engaged with their own history. This series, The History of Africa, with me, Zainab Badawi, aims to bring you a new perspective on Africa's history, interpreted and explained by Africans themselves. Over the next 2 months, I shall be taking you on a journey with me, one which I hope you will find enjoyable, informative, and at times even surprising. I will be travelling across the continent, north, south, east and west, bringing you a history of the African people, starting from the beginning of humankind, through Africa's great early civilizations, to the arrival of the major religions and their impact on the continent. We learn about citizens' connections with the past and how African scholars and experts are seizing control of their own history.
I'll tell you one critical problem with this world. There are people who think we can understand this world through the eyes of one culture. I don't believe that.
Well, we are very proud of this ancient history. We just saw a side that we haven't seen before, and it is good, you know, for the distinguished Zainab Badawi to expose this part of our history. We call it history of Africa, history of Arab world, to the Western world. It revealed, you know, that some of the commentators said that it is, you know, that we are affected by the other cultures. But our culture, or the African culture, is really, you know, a distinguished culture, and we are proud, all of us are proud of it.
You know, people talk about European, Western culture. We should just talk about African culture and all share and celebrate in Africa's geographic territorial history.
The film obviously didn't address many things. It's a 45-minute film covering 1,000 years of history over a very large geographical area. But I think it really highlighted the major aspects of Kushite civilization, its major political and military achievements, and also its fantastically rich culture and architectural heritage.
I think it was high time to show that Africa has an ancient civilization and has a stake in world history, and it was quite well done. I know that this is part of a history of Africa made by Zainab Badawi, which is a brilliant program, and it ended up that we are very proud of what all the Africans made. I mean, all of them in every part of Africa, southern, eastern, western, northern, etc. And it's something very important.
Across northern Africa, including what is today Sudan. This drove more people into the Nile Valley in search of hospitable land. It meant there were larger centres of population which became urbanised, and a hierarchy of chiefs or princes developed. By around 2500 BC, Kerma had become the centre for the people who came to be known as the Kushites.
She did a very good research. She covered a lot of aspects. She culturally, musically, economically, politically, wars which happened, how Sudanese and ancient Sudanese were really strong at a time where we think that nothing was happening in that part of Africa. She originated us. She made us really proud of where we're coming from, and definitely have gained a lot of information and knowledge of this episode. And I'm really looking forward to watch the rest of them.
Objectives of the series.